Hello there, Mr. Lee here, and welcome to a little place called Jouy-aux-Arches near the city of Metz in eastern France. This river behind me is the River Moselle or Moselle. If you're German, Moselle. If you're French or if you're English, you probably take the French name. Anyway, this is a major sort of transport artery, even even nowadays, a very important waterway. And this is the river that the aqueducts we're going to see will need to cross in order to get its water from the source just behind me there all the way down the river. Well, it doesn't go down along the river, but the city that it supplies is called Metz or Divodurum, and it will need to get there. Sorry if you can't quite see my face. Just behind me there is the western side, the left bank of the River Moselle or Moselle, and that's where the water would have come from, out of a tunnel across an aqueduct. There'll be about 100 arches over the river. This is just one arm of the river. There's an island in the middle, and then there's the main section over there. So there's at least two bits of water to cross with an island in the middle. Over 100 arches is going to bring us across the River Moselle, going on a gradient downwards of about a meter per kilometer, and it brings us over here to the right bank of the River Moselle or Moselle, onto the arches on this side where there's more of it remaining. Eventually it's going to enter a tunnel and reappear somewhere else, and eventually the water's going to end up in modern day Metz, which the Latin name, I cannot remember it, I think is Divodurum Metriciacum. I'm going to pull it on the screen just in a moment so you can work out what it actually is. Just to show you where the water would have come from and where it would have gone, you can just about see gorse just here. It would have gone sort of across the mountain in a tunnel. It would appear in roughly this sort of area. That's where we are. Near the modern Ars-sur-Moselle on the other side of the river. It would come across here and it would go into a tunnel again on this side, and eventually it's going to end up in Metz, in Roman time Metz, which will supply the settlements just there. Wonder if the Romans would have followed the signs to not just the aqueduct, but the bakery and the restaurant as well. This is the board where I got all the information about the aqueduct. You can see it's 22 kilometers in total length as well, and there's a reimagining of the aqueduct just over there in the interpretation board. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't this aqueduct amazing? According to the interpretation board just in front of me, this water supply system to Metz from Gorse is 22 kilometers, but only 1 kilometer of that is overground. The other 21, I presume, is it's a subterranean structure. So this is a fragment of that, and what we can see overground, the overground section is really amazing. And they've really made an effort to make it look nice as well, even though it's a utilitarian structure. Look, the Romans have designed the arch so that it allows a modern day car to pass just under one of these arches. Isn't that ingenious? Of course they didn't quite do that, and there's a lot of ingenious way that people after the Roman times used these arch spaces. Some even built houses and lived under it, because they've already got two sides, two walls already when they build the house under the arches of the aqueduct. Unfortunately, after the houses were destroyed during the Second World War and they weren't rebuilt afterwards. So there are now no houses under these remaining arches. I presume this is one of the structures that were under the arches, the archways that were there before. It's clearly made of a slightly different way on the outside than the original arches just here. The original arches originally would have had some sort of mortar, some sort of concrete in the inside as well. But like a lot of Roman public buildings, they were faced, if you like. There was something that clads the exteriors. In this case, a cut stone block that towards the top would have looked a little bit more yellow in the modern days. I'm not sure about the ancient times, which shows how much they care about public buildings, I suppose, even like utilitarian buildings like this. There were originally two waterways running along the top of the aqueduct, which is overall 3.5 meters in width. So I wonder whether what you can see just on the underneath of the archway here is a central line that demarcates the two separate running waterway that runs along this aqueduct side of Busy Road here. But this is the left bank, and that's the upper side of the aqueduct, the bit the bank side, the left bank, the west side, the side of the river where the water would have originally come from, and it would go this way across the river. You can see a train moving away from under the bridge that I was standing on. You can see some footage from that particular train, not the same train that you've just seen, of course. We're actually on the west side, the left bank of the river, the opposite side from where the majority of this film is filmed. There's a little bit less remains on this side, and you can just see it now on the clip here coming up. This is the higher bit of the aqueduct. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to explore the area any further, but here is a photo I've found. This is the where the water would have exited the tunnel and have gone onto the aqueduct. On the west bank, the left bank of the river, there would have been a similar sort of entrance on the other side where the water would have gone off the aqueduct into a tunnel on the other bank. On the same west bank of the river in the little town called Ars-sur-Moselle, you can actually see a little image aerial shots of the other bank, the east bank of the river and the aqueduct. See if you can spot the arches underneath of which the cars were passing earlier on in the video. Look, there are a lots of extant aqueducts from the Roman times that you can still see nowadays. I suppose even in France, this isn't necessarily the most famous. Probably the most famous is the Pont du Gard down in the southern France. But this was an interesting journey. It's not quite nice to be able to come so close to see what exactly it does, how it works, how it is composed. And this is the sort of water supply system that would supply the Roman baths and actually provide Romans with drinking water, either in the corners of the streets in little taps or reservoirs that people can go take the buckets over to collect, or if you're wealthy enough or if the building's important enough, even an actual water supply going into the building. Isn't it fascinating to see what is behind the sort of facilities and amenities that provides Romans with a standard of living that's, at least in this sense, comparable to ours. And look, here's one of the outlets of the water that's delivered by the aqueduct. This is the museum baths in Metz, so called because, well, when they built the museum, they discovered this baths underneath. So if you go nowadays to Metz, to the museum Cour d'Or, you can visit it there. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helps you learn a little bit about the background of Roman baths, or how the Romans get water to all the different places. I don't normally do shout outs, I'm not really a shout out person, but here's a general shout out to all the students at Yam School who inspires me to produce these sort of videos, especially those in the after school off activities club, especially Sunny in that, because you especially asked for a shout out. Right, look forward to making more videos for this channel.